Hello and welcome to Frontline Conversations. This is Irfan, Amin, Malik. On August 16 this year, Election Commission of India announced much expected assembly elections for Jammu and Kashmir, which means people of Jammu and Kashmir will get a chance to elect their representatives after a gap of 10 years. These elections are very significant also considering Jammu and Kashmir lost Article 370, the special status, and statehood on August 5, 2019. At the time when Election Commission of India have announced these much expected assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir, we wanted to understand the mood on the ground, how political leaders are connected with people on ground, and also what is the political buzz like in Jammu and Kashmir. For this interview, we are joined by J&K CPIM leader and PAGD spokesperson, Mr. Mohammed Yousuf Tarigami. Mr. Tarigami, you're welcome to Frontline Conversations.
Thank you.
Mr. Tarigami, let's begin this interview by asking you that a year after Article 370 was abrogated, on October 2020, various political parties in Jammu and Kashmir assembled under an umbrella which is called as People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration, which is PAGD, or in other words, we call it Gupkar Alliance. At a time when elections were announced by ECI, elections are around the corner. We do not get to see PAGD anywhere. There's no talk of PAGD these days. Where is PAGD? Is it alive or has it collapsed?
First of all, we have to understand the context of emergence of PAGD, People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration. It is not after 5th August 2019, but one day before, 4th August, Dr. Farooq convened a meeting at his residence where all of us, most of us political leaders, participated in the deliberations because there were huge rumors around about abrogation, trifurcation, bifurcation, and all that. So finally, we agreed to issue a declaration and demanding from the government of India that these rumors have to be put an end to, and no attempt in any form whatsoever should be made to reduce the status, historical status, constitutional status of Jammu and Kashmir, or downgrade the historic state of Jammu and Kashmir in union territories. And also we appeal to the Prime Minister of India that whatever the decision government of India is likely to take regarding Jammu and Kashmir, it must be taken only after consulting the real stakeholders of the state itself. That means all the political formations of the state, Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. But on returning to home and in the midnight itself, that was the last meeting. And then again, after a gap of time, as you rightly put it, in 2020, most of us were either detained in jails or house arrested. Like Dr. Saab was under house arrest, I was here, and many more. Almost all the shades of political leaders were under detention. So then again, we assembled at the residence of that MP who was Hasnain Sahib, and then decided there that we have to issue an appeal, revive the efforts which we had initiated. And this is the process. And then there were many, many attempts by the authorities to divide us, and not only to make us dysfunctional. And nevertheless, we tried to remain together and succeeded to some extent in raising the concerns of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
You mean to say that government has actually played a role to create a division between the PAGD constitution?
It's not a question of they created, they did not succeed, but certainly they attempted at. they attempted at, and that is quite obvious. And it was an eyesore for the government. It remained eyesore for the administration. They have accused us, they have condemned us by declaring us as Gupkar, gang of Gupkar. So all those abuses, accusations and all that, they were there, leveled against all the political leaders.
During all these years, we saw a lot of political parties leaving this alliance for many reasons.
No, that's a fact. You see, I tell you, there was at one point of time, uh, Sajad Lonsa was there, he left. And there were some others like Congress and all that. They remained associated later on as well, Congress. When we visited Jammu and when the question of increase in the number of voters was there, and that concern pushed us together, all of us, including those sections of politics from Jammu region which were not part of Gupkar Declaration. So such activities, the question is, I must tell you, that the urge of or the necessity of emergence of such a platform was because of the concerns of the people about the constitutionally guaranteed rights of the people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. And in our view, it was a big assault on the bond of relationship itself, because Jammu and Kashmir acceded in certain circumstances when there was a claim from across at that time, and this was the only Muslim majority area bordering with other side. And the people of Jammu and Kashmir and the then leadership took a historical stand and offered the uh, to have the relationship with the Union of India. And Constituent Assembly was there, and in that Constituent Assembly, this proviso of Article 37 was incorporated in the Constitution of India. It does not come from other area, any other state, any other country. It emerged out of the discussion and debate of the Constituent Assembly of India. It did arise because of the compact between the leadership of Jammu and Kashmir and the Union of India. So this, in our view, historically, it is a bond of relationship which has been assaulted. Article 370 is not a favor. It's not the concern of the people of Jammu and Kashmir alone. It should be the concern of the Republic itself. Some people are forgetting.
At a time when two major regional parties, National Conference and PDP, were actively participating in PAGD meetings and were the part of PAGD actively. But we saw recently in Lok Sabha elections, both fought elections separately.
You see, again, there is a misconception, perception, that as if the PAGD is a platform, electoral platform. It is not.
What is it then?
That's what I'm telling you. It is the question of the larger concern. Then there could have not been any meeting, any ground of meeting those sections of the population which have been having contrary views on many other issues, like some sections from Jammu region as well. Earlier, we were accused that it is confined to Gupkar. It did emerge, it got this nomenclature just because the meeting took place in Gupkar. Otherwise, it was an alliance concerning the issues which are part of the overall uh, area of concern for the people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. It's not confined to Valley. It's not Valley-centric. My point is, and the Gupkar Declaration, if you go through it, which was adopted unanimously on 4th of August 2019, there is no mention of elections. There was no question of elections at that time. The concern was that there should not be any assault on our constitutional rights. And that concern remains even now. Those concerns remain now. Those are not just attended or erased or addressed.
Being a PhD spokesperson, uh, are you not agreeing with those leaders who have already left? And on many occasions, they told me that the PAGD is not an electoral alliance; it's an ideological alliance. As you also said that.
I'm not talking about ideological. I'm talking about it is the question of the concerns of the political concerns of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Exactly. My point.
It reflects that.
Why PAGD then fought PDC District Development Council elections in 20.
Again, it was a compulsion. At that time, we were at Jammu holding a meeting, talking to the people there as well, because we were told that you are confined to the valley itself. Then all of a sudden, there was an announcement of DDC elections. We hurriedly decided that we should take advantage of this situation, this
So
opportunity.
will it be right to say that PAGD bus could not move forward? It stopped midway?
I'm not here suggesting, and I will suggest that please give me the chance to explain.
Yeah, please.
And what I am suggesting is the essential reason, the real reason for emergence of PAGD is the broader concern of the people of Jammu and Kashmir regarding the assault which took place on 5th August 2019 against the constitutionally guaranteed rights of the people. That is the concern. That concern remains even now. That concept remains now. Whether the political parties get engaged, some may come, some may go, or it may not remain functional even. It may get dysfunctional. But nevertheless, as a citizen, I must tell you that the concerns of each one of us, the citizens of Jammu Kashmir, remain that it is a historical state, has been downgraded without the consent of the real stakeholders of people of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh. Now you look at Ladakh. Earlier when this decision was taken, there was some sort of a celebration in Leh area because they wanted earlier, they demanded union territory status. Now what is happening? Kashmiris have yet to decide to come collectively on streets to protest and all that. But in Leh and Kargil, minus temperature, they have shouted, they are shouting on streets, and they are saying that we need protection of land, we need protection of jobs, and we need sixth schedule, we need legislature for Ladakh. So my point is now, go to Jammu. And that's why there is erosion in the last parliamentary elections, despite all claims by the BJP, despite there was no effective resistance from the opposition parties here. Congress was not in that stable position at that time, but there was erosion. No, number of people, many people, they voiced their concern, they voted against. So my point is, they wanted business. Where is the business? It's not only in Valley that the business is down, the market is down. It is more so equally in Jammu region as well. Where are the jobs? They had claimed that earlier Kashmiris have taken the jobs and Jammu people were waiting, younger generation waiting. There are no jobs. And whatever the jobs are there, now the gates are open for those who are outside the boundary of Jammu and Kashmir, which was earlier guaranteed by the Maharaja by issuing a notification in 1927 that no outsider should come to purchase land, no outsider should come to get employment here. This is what that demand emerged out of the concerns of the people of Jammu. And the notification was issued by not a popular government, by the ruler then, Maharaja Hari Singh. So my point is, now Jammu people are feeling the brunt of this whole process, which is highly undemocratic, highly anti-people, whether it is Kashmir, Jammu or Ladakh.
So Tarigami, let's come on assembly elections once again. We get to see recently, a few days back, NC Congress announced pre-poll alliance, but PDP was sidelined. A report suggests that Rahul Gandhi was keen to include PDP in India alliance, but NC refused that move. How do you see these?
I have no idea about who approached whom, who was not involved and how it was not.
India alliance member.
No, it's not the question of. No, my point is not that. I as a concerned citizen, because you see, after a gap of years together, we don't have assembly. This is the only region in the whole of the country where there is no assembly since 2018. The last assembly elections held in this region is in 2014, 10 years gap. So Denial of democratic rights, denial of the very basic rights of having our own assembly, even that is a concern for the whole population here. And why it has happened now? Why it was not happening? Because they were not getting very sure about the support which they wanted to engineer. They went for delimitation, added more seats to Jammu region, irrespective of the less number of population, and then they again nominated five more members, and nomination who will do it? Lieutenant Governor, not the cabinet. And again, they have made amendments. Now, people, we are talking, all of us are talking, restore statehood. Supreme Court of India has said, but instead of restoring statehood, the business rules have been amended. One more amendment has been moved in Reorganization Act itself, and downgrading the cabinet, downgrading the assembly, and empowering the unelected lieutenant governor. This is the scheme of things which are happening now, which have happened quite recently. Not only that, the budget was presented by the union government, union finance minister, about Jammu and Kashmir, minus the grants of police department. That budgetary allocations were put in the list of union budget. What does it mean? Not a favor for police, but taking control of police. Now, whatever the assembly will be there tomorrow, it will be with less power, more powers.
I'll come on that. But my question is regarding India Alliance once again. You have been vocal regarding restoration of Article 370, and you have been actually fighting for it, as you rightly pointed out, along with other parties. But Congress, being in India Alliance, it did not include Article 370 in their manifesto.
Oh, you see,
Even
the
their
question,
clash within the
I must tell you very frankly, you cannot just go with a fixed arrangement. This is not, you see, when we talk about the assembly election means what? As of today, there is BJP, which has denied this right for over a couple of years, despite the requirements and all that. And they did it now because of Supreme Court directions, and because there was no any option left for the government. That we must underline. This is a hard fact. Now, we are together. We have to be together. Not that everybody will be agreeing with my proposals, with my concerns. There may be disagreements as well. We have the population in Kashmir, we have the population in Jammu, and we have to carve out certain area of agreement where we can move together. It does not mean that I am giving up my position, and it does not equally mean that anybody else is supposed to accept my interpretation of the situation or my agenda. So recently parliament elections were held, and then only there was some alliance between Congress and this national conference, and we supported that as CPIM. So PDP was not part of that. That, of course, we should have avoided, we should have tried and all that, that I agree. But the fact remains that it's not that Congress will be same as national conference will toe the line of Congress, everything. But we are unanimous on what? Restoration of democracy in Jammu and Kashmir, making the administration accountable, putting an end to repressive measures against writers, journalists, students, youth, and all that. So these are the vital demands. And the fundamental demand as of now is, as Supreme Court has mentioned it in its judgment, that is restoration of statehood. That remains one, not only one of the important, the very important demand of all the people in Jammu and Kashmir. Besides, we want protection of land. We want protection of jobs as well. So these are important areas which have been identified, which must be identified by all those concerned people. And then fundamentally, in my view, BJP has done what it should have not. They have assaulted the constitutional rights. They have assaulted the very basic rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir, deprived the people with the rule of law, and bureaucracy is doing whatever it wants to do. And there is a huge suffocation people are facing, whether in Kashmir or in Jammu, whether traders, the common people, on the question of livelihood issues, on the question of price rise, on the question of freedom of expression, freedom of association. All these situations or issues matter. And for that, broader agreements are required. There may be certain amount of disagreements as well, but disagreements must not stop us from shaking hands wherever there is some possibility of working together.
J&K is now a union territory. How powerful could be the assembly this time in Jammu and Kashmir? Also, it is in response to the recent amendments to transition of business rules, expanding the powers of Lieutenant Governor. How powerful do you think J&K Assembly would?
One more assault. That's what I am telling, that the government of India is not drawing lessons. They don't want to empower the people. We are not asking give us more powers. We are asking them whatever powers were there with this historic state, those must be restored. They are on record. When last time Prime Minister convened the all parties meeting, Prime Minister, Home Minister assured us about restoration of full statehood. Now, you see, elections, but huge effort by the government of India that whatever the assembly is there, it is not empowered. But nevertheless, why we are participating in such an exercise? Just because we don't have any option, people of Jammu and Kashmir, and that option must be, whatever the circumstances must be utilized, and that debate and discussion which can be possible only in that house, I think that remains the requirement for all of us, and we will raise the voice. That's why this emergence of this alliance of secular parties, that is important in order to isolate BJP, because BJP is desperate to impose itself on the people of Jammu and Kashmir by hook or by crook.
Is it also getting difficult for you to talk to people on ground, your workers? Are they motivated this time to vote, considering J&K is now a union territory, as you also agreed that there will be less power?
I don't think that they need to be convinced. They are learning through their own experience. They do understand that they don't have any option. They don't have any option to express themselves, any platform where they can express their concerns. So this is, in my view, an opportunity for the people, Jammu and Kashmir. We don't have any other option. That's why I appeal to the people in general, particularly youth. They must come forward in good number and contribute in the process of isolating those who have undermined the very democratic rights, constitutional rights of the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
After Election Commission of India announced these assembly elections, we saw political leaders switching sides, changing political parties. Do you foresee a potential fractured mandate this time again? BJP, as Jammu is their stronghold and they managed to win the seat from Jammu, and they always claim that Jammu is our stronghold.
Our people are.
And what about Kashmir? There are various parties fighting.
They will try. The government of India, the administration will try to divide us, to create certain such elements, encourage such elements who want to divide.
A situation might arise.
I don't think. We trust the people. People have that capacity to understand the situation. We have learned through.
What if situation arises that Jammu goes to BJP and Kashmir gets divided in regional?
Why are you looking at now? Jammu people have drawn lessons from their own experience, and Kashmiris have also learned lessons that we can't move around in isolation from each other. Our issues are common, our concerns are common. We have to build bridges. We have to come closer. and face these challenges together.
You don't think there will be a fractured mandate this time?
I am hopeful that people have enough wisdom not to fall in the prey of the government of today, the administration, which they are desperate enough to divide our ranks. I hope that people will understand, they will unite their ranks, and all the secular parties must realize that the challenges are bigger, and those challenges can be met only being together.
During recent Lok Sabha elections, we saw senior political leaders losing their uh, elections from different seats in Kashmir, including two former chief ministers, Mehbooba Mufti and Umar Abdullah. And in North Kashmir, we saw Sajjad Ghani Don also losing the seat. Do you think that people are looking for a change? And if
You
they're
see,
looking
if
for a change,
finally,
are you thinking that we might see that change in assembly elections?
no, the question is why are you predicting whatever happens? Wait for some days, 2 weeks' time is there,
Recent
or
Lok
1 week is there.
given us a result, and
There is a,
and former chief ministers have lost.
you see, anybody can lose the election. It's not only here and elsewhere as well, but they are drawing lessons as well. They know how to act and how not to act. Might be they are drawing the lessons from the parliamentary elections as well. We need uh, effective intervention from the people of Kashmir and Jammu. This is a hard time. This is a difficult time which we are undergoing as of now. We must realize that we can't afford to get uh, divided and remain isolated from each other. Jammu Kashmir must exercise their right of vote in an effective manner and defeat the designers of BJP, which is hell-bent to divide us and trample our democratic rights. That is their call. We must not allow them to do what they wanted to do.
About a restoration of statehood, there are two former chief ministers, Mehbooba Mufti and Umar Abdullah, have claimed that they will not contest elections until and
I think there is no option for them. I think they must reconsider their. They might be reconsidering. They have the enough capacity to understand.
Do you see any ray of hope statehood gets restored to Jammu and Kashmir as well?
I'm very hopeful that the journey might not be so short as you and me may like, but certainly I have seen the ugly nights, longer nights as well, but then the dawn also I have experienced. And then this long journey, there will be some light at the end of the tunnel. Let's hope for that.
You have been undefeated in Pulgam since 1996. But last elections, we saw that you won by narrow margin.
Because
Yeah. And now when Jammu and Kashmir has lost Article 370, political dynamics have considerably changed. How confident are you in retaining your seat?
first of all, I must tell you, earlier as well, when narrow margin was there were bigger players. My friends in journalist community know. But nevertheless, I won thanks to the wisdom of the people of Kulgam area. And again, as of now, Kulgam is as wise as the rest of our community. They will decide decisively. I hope I will not be disappointed.
Mr. Tarigami, thank you so much for joining us for Frontline Conversation.
Thank you very much.